Hey there YouTube, Logan with Hideaway Homestead here, coming to you today with a video on 3 reasons why you should grow fodder trees to feed your animals along with hay and pellets or whatever it is that you're giving them. As y'all know, we've been going through a drought. I did some videos talking about that, and the willows that we have that are not close to the pond, like this one here, granted is very close to the pond, you know, and it's doing well. Along with this one that's behind me, yeah, right here, it's doing really well. Some of the willows that are up there on the hill are not doing good at all. I'm probably going to lose one of them if I had to guess. But I'm down here about to get some fodder from this tree and go and give it to the rabbits, and then I'm also going to go up and get some of the poplar, the hybrid poplar, and give that to the sheep because they really like it and the rabbits don't care for it. So I'm gonna give the rabbits what they like and the sheep what they like. And I wanted to make this video just because I think that even if you're feeding hay or you have some kind of system where you're growing a lot of plants that are close to the ground, adding trees to your feeding schedule I think is extremely beneficial. Reason number one being that a lot of animals that are farm animals are really browsers slash grazers. I need to look into this. I'm not really educated on exactly what in the wild, you know, things do. But like, you know, for example, a deer and a goat are more browsers than, you know, say like a, you know, sheep and a cow. But now a cow and sheep will also, anything that they can reach, you know, not standing on their back legs like a goat, they'll eat that. So they'll browse too. And I think that more than likely most animals are browsers and grazers. And it's just, you know, how much do they do of one versus the other is from what I've seen anyway. So I don't know if there's necessarily any animals in the animal kingdom that are just strictly grazers or just strictly browsers. And a lot of our parasites that plague the homestead animals come from the grass, from the ground. Just like with the sheep, I was talking about how you don't need to keep the grass too short because anything about 4 inches and below is so close to the ground that you're going to get a lot more parasite loads. With trees, you don't get that because they are way up above the parasite line. So that's reason number one to keep fodder trees, is the fact that they're up high off the ground. They get tons of sunlight, tons of airflow. You're not going to get many parasites, if any, from having fodder trees. Reason number two being that trees are far more drought resistant, in my opinion. Now, I think there's a lot of stuff that you can do to your soil and your landscape to capture more water and maybe not have as many drought problems if you have droughts. Like with grasses, I mean, they tend to die first and then the trees. But that's because of their, you know, root systems. Now, there are some grasses, I mean, that go, you know, 14 foot or further below the surface. But, you know, nothing that can compete with a tree. All the minerals that can be mined from down low from tree roots, all the nutrients, the water that can be brought up because their roots go so deep. I mean, there's a lot of trees that they're tapped right into the water table, depending on how high your water table is. So got this willow here. I'm gonna set it up here and we'll go and get some hybrid or poplar for the sheep and talk about the third reason. Third reason being that not all plants like you know, full sun all day, every day. And this hybrid poplar, for example, now it's really good about providing a lot of shade. But you know, some of the trees cast a little bit of a lighter shade, and that's why you see such beautiful lush green growth in silvopasture, which is just basically trees and planted in rows, or you can plant them in little blocks that are in pasture to mimic a savanna. And so you get a savanna mimic, which is one of the most productive land ecosystems that you can get, and they just produce better than pasture or forest alone. Reason being is that the trees cast some shade, they bring up minerals, they also help with the feeding of grasses and plants with mycorrhiza fungi. They're, you know, part of that system. And them giving shade, a lot of times, you know, there are some grasses that can just all day, every day take the sun and just turn it into massive amounts of energy and protein. But there are a lot of grasses, a lot of forbs and stuff that, you know, like a little bit of shade, or a little bit of shade during part of the day. So planting your trees will give you a little bit more diversity in your pasture and in the feeding of your animals. So 3 reasons why to plant fodder trees. The number one reason being that you can feed your animals with them, but I definitely wanted to kind of expand on it a little bit, because I talk about feeding it and talk about you know, which ones are good and everything, but there's a lot more benefits you get than just that. Because really and truly, if I wanted to just feed my rabbits off of, you know, green material instead of pellets, I could do some clover, alfalfa, and other grasses and just feed them that. But I think that having the trees in with it, you know, gives it a little more diversity and everything, which this tree's looking a little pitiful. That's something like right now, the reason I'm giving some of this to the sheep is because the grass is just dead. I've got hay for them, but I'm gonna give them some of this and go give the rabbits some, just that way they've got some green material, you know, nice treat. This is not the best time of year going into fall to cut some of these for various reasons, but one of the reasons being that the nutrition's not that high, and the other reason being that the plants don't really need to be pruned this late in the season if you can help it, just because any new growth that comes out might have a hard time hardening off for winter. But anyway, hope that video was informative. Maybe you learned something, maybe you were reminded of something. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you've got any questions or comments, leave those down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. I'll see y'all on the next one. Appreciate you watching. Come join us live at 7 for our Tribecast. It'll be a panel discussion about starting a homestead from scratch, and I hope to see y'all there.